2026 State Transportation Board meeting to order. Lloyd, one last time, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Please stand.
Not letting you get away from it yet.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Floyd. As long as you're still in the building, I was still going to give you that duty. Karen, can we get roll call, please?
Chairman Nessa,
Present.
Vice Chair Howard,
Present.
Board Member Elters,
Present.
Board Member Esselstyn,
Here.
Board Member Hermosillo,
Present.
Board Member Brocker,
Present.
Board Member Giles,
Present.
Board Member Coleman.
Present.
All right, thank you. Let's, the record reflect, we have a full board in attendance today, and we have the first time of having 8 members on the Arizona State Transportation Board. The seats are defined by statute, and Pinal County has got a population now that has led them to have a seat at this board. So Doug, welcome to the board.
Thank you.
We're looking forward to it. We haven't yet figured out what we're going to do if we have any 4-4 ties. I've heard everybody say throw the director under the bus. We might bring Greg in. Hopefully, we tend to mostly be in agreement. But if that ever happens, I'm hoping it'll be a year from now when I'm no longer the chair. So, Doug, if you could, just like to give you the mic for a couple seconds, just to give some of the folks your background and what you feel about transportation industry.
So I'm Doug. You think I know how to turn on the mic. I'm Doug Coleman from Apache Junction. Was the mayor out in AJ, was on the city council for 19 years, did 3 terms in the state legislature, did 1 term as justice of the peace out in AJ, retired board and started looking for some way to serve again. Something that not a lot of people know about me, but board member Peshlik, I remembered just something novel, I think. I'm a Duncan Yo-Yo champion. I'm sure that'll go a long ways in my analysis here. So.
All right, thank you, Doug. We look forward to getting, I've worked with you some in the past and you're.
I think.
Okay, Mayor.
There we go.
We'll figure this out. I've worked some with you in the city and the legislature and look forward to working with you again here. So thank you for joining us, dedication and time.
Yeah, no, thank you. Good to be here.
And Mayor Hermosillo, not only apparently are you going to have to help me make sure I know how to run the equipment. I appreciate sitting in your chair and I like the candy stash that's sitting there so that we may have it. But thank you for opening up the city hall in El Mirage and bringing us out here and want to give you an opportunity to say anything you'd like from the floor.
Yes, thank you so much. So aside from being a board member on this board, I'm also the mayor president of El Mirage. I want to welcome everyone to our lovely city. And I'm not sure exactly where everyone is coming from, but I imagine that by the end of this meeting, you may want to have something to eat before you go home. And so I welcome everyone to please enjoy our restaurants here in town. If I can make any recommendations, we have an amazing Rio Mirage Cafe right down the street, and we have Arizona's best tacos at La Bamba Tacos as well. So please enjoy. You're more than welcome to come back to our city at any point. But thank you so much for being here, being so engaged. And so, and to the chairman, my seat is always your seat. Mi casa, su casa.
Muy bien, thank you. Any other board members have any opening comments they want to make? Anybody online?
Thank you for the board.
All right, I know I've received calls from each of the members that were online. They were disappointed that they weren't going to be able to make it here, to be here both in person and to see El Mirage and take a look. It's a beautiful facility and we really do appreciate you opening it up for us. With that, Greg, are you going to do the Title VI or it still says Floyd on the agenda? Just didn't know about where the seats are.
Title VI video.
Wasn't able to.
We'll have Floyd will be reading it.
Thank you very much. We'll turn to Floyd. I told you, you're not getting away that fast. It's just not going to happen. So welcome to the podium, Mr. Roy.
Here, I thought, when Greg said they get changes, he's finding that a video plays every time you like your video, but so probably last. Pursuant to Tennessee and Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Americans with Disability Act, the Arizona State Education Board and ADA cannot discriminate on the basis of race, color, national origin, or disability. Of course, when we exclude from participation in, we didn't have the benefit of, we are subjected to discrimination under any Arizona State Transportation Board program or activity. To assist in measuring the public's participation, we ask these individuals to please complete an online self-identification survey, and the link to that survey is on the agenda. For those of the person with this file survey card located at the entrance to the meeting room, leave the cards there, we'll pick them up after the meeting. By completing this voluntary survey, ADOT will be able to determine who attends the public meetings, how the department can improve participation. The survey will also allow ADOT to fulfill federal reporting requirements. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Floyd. Appreciate that. Call the audience is done virtually and in person. We generally start with the in-person first. However, we're going to go to a couple of elected officials we have online virtually first. Like everybody who is online, either via telephonically or WebEx, to remain muted until you're called to join the audience. At that time, we'd like you to use your raise your hand function. If you're online, either use it by pressing *3 on your phone keypad or using the WebEx option for raising your hand. And remember, for all the speakers today, we appreciate keeping it to the 3 minutes for each speaker. We're going to start on the WebEx. Like I said, we have a couple of elected officials, and I want to make sure that we let them get about their busy day. We're going to start with Becky Daggett, the mayor of the city of Flagstaff.
I have sent you a request to unmute.
Thank you, and good morning, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Becky Daggett, and I serve as the Mayor of Flagstaff. I am here to support the City of Flagstaff's application for AZ SMART funding to design the connection of John Wesley Powell Boulevard from Lake Mary Road to I-17. This project will create a long-awaited 2-mile connection to I-17 from Lake Mary Road. The east-west connection creates two new major routes, one along JWP itself, as well as new access to Lone Tree Road. Both roads provide alternative options to ADOT-owned Milton Road and will help to alleviate congestion. The project supports significant economic development opportunities around the airport as identified in Flagstaff's regional plan. It is aligned with the city's carbon neutrality plan by reducing vehicle miles traveled, and it will save an estimated 2 metric tons of CO2 per day. The proposed improvements include new roadway with raised median, 2 roundabouts, on-street buffered bike lanes, separated multi-use paths, and increased drainage capacity. The award would be used for design, including NEPA analysis and public outreach process. The City of Flagstaff is committed to applying for construction funding through a build grant within the next 2 years. On behalf of the city, I respectfully request your support of this application to bring this important project to our community. And thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate your time and your words. I'll now turn to, still on the WebEx, Miranda Sweet, the Vice Mayor for the City of Flagstaff and the Chair of the Metro Plan Executive Board.
Ms. Sweet, please raise your hand so I can identify you. If you're using the WebEx application, please click on the hand signal at the bottom to raise your hand. If you're using your phone, please press *3.
Mr. Chair, I do not see Ms. Sweet on the attendee list.
All right, we'll come back to her at the WebEx portion and see if she's joined us. So let's move on to Brian Fultz, the Vice Mayor of the City of Sedona. Vice Mayor Fultz, if you could raise your hand.
I have sent him a request to unmute.
Good morning, Chair and members of the board. My name is Brian Fultz, Vice Mayor for the City of Sedona. You've heard from our staff on a couple of occasions now regarding these projects, and I appreciate the opportunity today to briefly share with you again about two improvements that will enhance safety, reliability, and connectivity at the junction of State Route 89A and State Route 179. Sedona sits at the junction of these two state highways, which serve not only our residents, but also millions of visitors traveling through northern Arizona each year. Because of that, the performance of these intersections affects regional mobility and the reliability of Arizona's transportation network. In 2023, the City of Sedona and the Coconino National Forest partnered with the U.S. Department of Transportation's Volpe Center to complete a transportation assessment group study. That report identified congestion, circulation challenges, and emergency evacuation concerns as major regional issues and recommended improved roadway connectivity as part of a long-term solution. The two roundabout projects before you directly respond to those findings. At State Route 89A, Ranger Forest Roundabout, this intersection serves as a primary access point into uptown Sedona and experiences heavy seasonal volumes. Today, we see queuing, turning conflicts, and unpredictable delay. A modern roundabout here will reduce severe angle and left turn crashes, improve continuous flow on State Route 89A, shorten queue lengths, enhance emergency response reliability. From a regional perspective, this project improves safety and reliability on a critical segment of the state highway network. The Brewer Ranger Roundabout. This project is especially important because it enhances the connection between State Route 89A and State Route 179. Currently, most transfers between these two state routes funnel through limited intersections. That concentration increases congestion and reduces system flexibility, particularly during peak tourism periods or emergency events. The Brewer connection distributes demand and reduces pressure on existing intersections, improves redundancy, supports evacuation planning, strengthens corridor resilience. These improvements align directly with the Volpe report's call for enhanced regional connectivity. Legislative support. These projects have also received support at the state level. During the current legislative session, House Bills 2201 and 2609 have been introduced that identify Sedona transportation improvements, including these roundabout projects, as priority infrastructure investments. These bills propose state funding toward advancing these improvements. This legislative support reflects the growing recognition that improving connectivity between State Route 89A and State Route 179 is important not only for Sedona, but for the entire northern Arizona region. Closing. The Sedona City Council strongly supports these projects. The city is coordinating closely with ADOT and remains committed to partnering with the state to deliver improvements that enhance safety and strengthen connectivity between State Route 89A and State Route 179. Thank you for your continued support of transportation investments that benefit both our community and the broader region. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. All right, we will now turn to in-person comments, and I'm going to start with Irene Higgs.
Good morning, Chairman Maxwell, board members, directors, and AOS staff. My name is Irene Higgs, and I'm the executive director of South Corridor Metropolitan Organization. The Southern Corridor MPO represents the cities of Casa Grande, Coolidge, Eloy, and a portion of Downtown County. This morning, it is my pleasure to welcome board member Doug Coleman to the State Transportation Board representing the new District 7 and the residents of Pinal County, and to welcome him to serve on the Sun Porter EPO Executive Board starting in May. Several weeks ago, I had the opportunity to sit down with Doug and discuss the transportation needs for our residents in Castrati, Coolidge, Eloy, and Pinal County. And wanted to say thank you, Doug, for driving down to us to meet with my staff. It was really appreciated. Doug's experience, relationships, and approach to leadership will help strengthen the partnership and collaboration needed to deliver the transportation system in Pinal County. Board Member Coleman, we are excited to work alongside you and grateful for your willingness to serve Pinal County. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ronald Wambach. And Mr. Wambach, as you come up, we do all have copies of the letters that you submitted to us, so thank you.
Good morning. Thank you for having us here. I have a bunch of my neighbors along with me here. I'm talking today about the proposed Loop 303 overpass at the 155th, which is now actually 152nd because they changed it. I've got 6 different things, as you can see by the handout that I gave to you, that I'd like to address. One is the lack of notice I was given to anybody in Sun City West. The most impacted people regarding this overpass. Nothing came to us whatsoever. When I attempted to find out what notices were given, I was given a whole bunch of things, none of which would apply to us. Online subscriptions, all sorts of different things that no one ever saw. So we're totally in the dark about this and we stumbled by it. Next, I'd like to look at what sort of classification this project has. It's listed under the ADOT as it's called a category exclusion. This is not a category exclusion. This is definitely one that requires environmental assessment. It is a huge project. It is significant. It has a major impact, not only on us, but on other areas in the vicinity of Sun City West and Porterville. The requirements to become an environmental assessment means that they have to follow much more stringent requirements. They have to do additional notices, actual notices, not these artificial notices that we didn't get. Next is our alternative options. I tried to find out, and I found out about this whole process back in March about what are the other options that were available besides the 155th, and there were like 4 other ones that were available down the road. Strangely, those 4, including the 155th, and originally proposed were disregarded, and unilaterally somehow they switched it from the 155th and turned it into my backyard, and allowed some other people. So I immediately, when I looked up my backyard, the proposal now has a giant overpass in my backyard. That wasn't even one of the proposals that was looked at initially. I said, why aren't we going down to El Mirage and extending El Mirage as they were doing in Peoria, going up to the northeast and touching with Joe Max Road? Did I get an answer to that? No, it's not in their project. I said, who's coordinating the project? The same people coordinating El Mirage and coordinating the 155th. Why aren't we going from El Mirage to the northwest and tying into some location like Happy Valley? A simple, less expensive one. Which brings me to one of the other items I got on here, and that is costs. The costs for this project are estimated to be in excess of $95 million. I said, $95 million, what are you doing here? And it's giant overpass. I said, why don't you use El Mirage and go up there and set it off? That's a $25 million project. We're way over the budget. I said, who's handling all these funds? Where's it coming from? Well, pretty much it's like, well, we're going to fund this through the 479 program. And apparently that they think that 479 program takes them out of requirements for NEPA. It doesn't take you out of those requirements. You still have to comply with all those things. We've been left in the dark for this, and it's really just well, I'll be kind. To say the least, we got kicked to the side of the road here. And we're the people who have the most impact. I'm talking about 50 to 75 homes that are directional.
You could wrap it up, the agreements. I know there's other people that are also going to speak on 303 today.
I asked for mitigation. That should have been done initially. Give me the plans for what you plan to do for mitigation, for light, for sound, for all of the processes that are there. It'll be done in the final plan. Final plans are too late. When you want us to let us have input to something, we know that the final plan is done. You're not gonna listen, no one's gonna listen to us.
And we do appreciate the notes as well. We'll be able to review those as well. So thanks.
On there, the damages, we're looking at damages from what people have said, since we found out about all this, 7 homes have gone up in our area. Value down. Not good representation for our government to be dealing with their citizens. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wambach. Bernadette Gilstrap.
I see Darius Larson.
All right, so Darius Larson. Quick, before Mr. Larson starts speaking, Greg, I need to make sure we got it, or she ceded her 3 minutes to Mr. Larson. So if he's got 6, correct? Okay. Mr. Larson, you have 6 minutes.
Often say, my name is Darius Larson. Resident sensitive West, obviously. This is what you're going to do to us. This is what my backyard's going to look like. Everyone see what it's going to be. This is what Ron was talking about. This is what we're all talking about. It's a terrible thing you're doing to us. For 10 years or more, you had the own Raj out in the middle of the desert, ready to go. Why haven't you built that into that area? The people on the north side deserve good access. What do you have for right now? You have 163rd Death Trap. It's a terrible place. If you would go ahead with the Joe Max Road up on Grand Avenue, tied into the, which is already project, tied into the Elbronx extension, you would solve all that problem, and this would not be necessary. This would be there at all. You would take care of if you put in the Joe Max, what's that trouble? You can shut down 63rd down. That's not what's going on there. Why for years that nobody's built in to take care of those people, their access to the last minute. The Elmhurst thing, you've got a land grant that took place up north. You've got some last revenue area all the way out to Whitman. You have city Peoria grabbing up land all the way up past the extension. Those areas up there are those two cities' responsibility. And it's not the responsibility of some city west to do this. I sent you a copy of the page letter. I believe you have it. I received it. I have 27 years in the state of Oregon for transportation. I was chief of police for the state of Oregon. I was for 2 years in liaison, the only one person, the liaison between the Department of Transportation and the Attorney General's office. When I left there, the last thing I did was I rewrote the state's highway name. And we had the saying in there that I think is important. It said there are 3 types of properties you need to stay away from. One of them is polluted properties. Number 2, cemeteries. Number 3, railroads. You guys blew it when you did move away from the railroad. That solves the whole problem down the interchange we have now, 303. I hope you don't make that same mistake when you do the Joe Max. Move far enough with your foot rate, you put the ramps up. If you look at the terrible situation you have now on Grand Avenue, you have all 4 of the ramps on the south side. Why? Because railroads. And the railroads are going to nation rights to the highway bridge. At least they do. They're equal, but they were here earlier. I would add one more thing to those 3 things to your right way name. Stay away from retirement communities. You're going to get an awful lot of angry people, and we're not going to put up with it. We have the time, we have the energy, we have enough money that if we have to, we will take this to court and we will solve it. This is a terrible thing you're trying to do for our community. You're basically going to ruin the value for an area along the frontage that's about 3/4 of a mile long. If you even think about putting up some kind of you're talking about a 30-foot high wall, 3/4 of a mile long. How much does that add to your project? And that would only get it back to where we are today. Any questions? I'd like to, anytime we can help, we have meetings, let's resolve this, because this is wrong. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Larson. Donald, hands up.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Donald Hansel. I'm a retired attorney and I reside at 15132 West Las Brisas in Sun City West. I'm here to respectfully urge VDOT to reconsider the 155th Avenue alternative and instead complete the interchange at El Mirage Road. My concerns focus on safety, proximity to homes, community impacts, fiscal responsibility. First, safety. The 155th Avenue design introduces high-speed ramps, urging traffic much closer to residential streets than the El Mirage line. This increases the likelihood of conflict between local and through traffic, particularly as drivers enter and exit near established neighborhoods. The El Mirage interchange, by contrast, was originally designed to handle these traffic movements in a more direct and separated way, reducing complexity and closing predictability for drivers. Second, proximity to homes. My property line is approximately 400 feet from the proposed ramp connecting to the 302. This distance is extremely close for an elevated freeway ramp carrying continuous traffic, including heavy trucks. At that proximity, the impacts are unavoidable and permanent. Continuous traffic noise day and night, headlights and light spill in residential areas, loss of privacy and visual buffer, and a direct, substantial impact on property values. This is not a minor inconvenience. This is a fundamental change to the livability of an established neighborhood. Third, the proposed 155th Avenue ramps and bridge structure would directly impact adjacent golf course areas that are central to the design and identity of Sun City West. Introducing large elevated structures into this setting will alter that environment in ways that cannot be fully mitigated. Fourth, visual and noise impacts. An elevated interchange at 155th Avenue brings a significant visual and acoustic footprint. Large concrete bridge structure, continuous vehicle noise, including trucks. Even with mitigation, these impacts remain substantial due to how close the ramps are to homes. Finally, cost and common sense. The interchange at El Mirage is already partially in place. Completing that interchange would logically require significantly less funding than constructing an entirely new interchange from the ground up. At the time of transportation funding must be used efficiently. It raises a fundamental question. Why invest more public money to build a new interchange that creates greater impacts on residents when an existing, less disruptive option is already available? In closing, I respectfully ask VDOT to one, clearly justify the shift away from El Mirage Road. Two, provide a transparent cost comparison. And three, reconsider what the 155th Avenue alternative truly represents, the best balance of safety, cost, and community impact. Based on the information available, it does not. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Mr. Hensel. Michael Deal.
Good morning. Thank you for having us today. My name is Mike Deal. I live on the West Los Reeses Lane in Sun City West. My attendance today is with regard to the planned interchange at SR 303 and 155th Avenue. The 155th interchange location on SR 303 was chosen months ago. Yet impacted residents in Sun City West were not notified in writing of this decision. As you know, Sun City West is a retirement community, and it's incorrect to assume that these residents are using the latest cell phone and computer technology for communication. Newspaper and television communications are not reliable methods these days either. However, US mail is a reliable and expected communication method. There's evidence that ADOT project management is focused on project completion at all costs. Unfortunately, it appears that customers physically impacted by projects are not a priority. This is a project management issue that needs to be addressed and rectified. During my review of ADOT's study to place an overpass on SR 303 between Lynchfield Road and 155th, I could find no evidence that ADOT ever looked at utilizing the SR 303 and El Mirage overpass for that purpose. This potential solution of getting traffic up to Joe Max Road and beyond could save months of construction time and save millions of dollars as compared to building a new overpass at any of the other 4 locations studied. This needs to be addressed and explained in detail to residents. In the meantime, the peaceful retirement and real estate network of Sun City West residents are being placed in jeopardy without due explanation. The 155th Avenue proposal also places major impacts on the Sun City West Desert Trails Golf Course. It appears that golf course management did not receive proper notification either. And why is that? ADOT proposals for minimizing visual and noise impacts on Sun City West properties must be communicated to residents by US mail well in advance of finalization of any of these projects. I recommend that ADOT review its internal processes and review its apparent lack of customer focus. ADOT must enact a study to review these issues and communicate with Sun City West residents using appropriate methods such as US mail. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Deal. Linda Valencia.
My name is Linda Valencia. I reside in my home is at 15186 West Los Reeses Lane. The back of my property is the golf course. Many of my points have already been made by my fellow US residents. One thing I would like to point out, that maybe hasn't been mentioned, is that the opportunity to provide input on this project was extended to the residents and government officials of Peoria and Surprise in February of 2025. The final decision was proposed, was presented to us, the final plan. That decision was made in June of 2025. Sun City residents did not have an opportunity to hear about any of this until January 15th of 2026, when we received a presentation by Mr. Williams from the Maricopa Association of Government. My assumption is that he was the one that liaisoned with Surprise and Peoria, and by that, giving those residents an opportunity for input. Input on the project that I'm not sure included all of the alternatives, especially the alternative of using the El Mirage as an interchange. It's shameful that the prisoners and residents that are most impacted by this project were not contacted. Especially since other entities, other governmental entities, I received correspondence from them with my address and with my name. So I'm wondering why the Department of Transportation could not also locate me and notify me of this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Valencia. C.C. Anderson.
Good morning, my name is Judy Anderson. I live at 15180 West Las Brisas Lane in Snow City West. 12 years ago, we purchased our home in Snow City. We were informed at that time that a concrete wall would be constructed along Desert Trail Golf Course.
I'm the president of Forum Property Owners Association, Sun City West. I'm just elected, so I'm still ramping up where this all that, but me and my neighbors have communicated beautifully our position and overall situation. My question is, who do I need to contact to better understand where this is actually at decision wise and better understand how we've gotten to where we are, how come we haven't gone to the El Mirage decision, when did we decide to go with the past? So my question is, who do I need to reach out to have those discussions.
Well, Mr. Sant, the board's not supposed to respond to the questions. However, in this case, what I can tell you is probably reach out to Mr. Byers and make sure he has your information. He'll be able to talk you through more of the process that's taken place to this point.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir. And sir, if I could, since we don't have a card on, you could at least give us your name. Okay.
My name is AJ Van, I'm a resident of 15162 West Las Cruces Lane. And
Thank you. I had it shown as it was gonna be online, so you can start your 3 minutes now and do the extra time. Thank you.
And I just wanted to point out that I'm a new resident there since October, and the current conditions that are there pretty good. And my neighbors made me aware of this overpass going in that would make the current conditions even worse because the current wall that is there is supposed to be a sound barrier, I guess, a privacy barrier. My backyard overlooks the 303 wall, and during the rush hour time in the morning and the evening, traffic noise is just terrible with that short wall. And by raising the road for the interchange would make that even worse. And also after daylight hours, the existing lighting that's there, just like the highway, is very bright, just coming right in my back window. I'm overlooking the golf course and the 303 wall, and then beyond it, there's several streetlights that are existing. And by raising it, I'm sure there's going to be lighting that's going to be even taller than what's already there. And the noise impact would be terrible. I invite any of you to come to my house during rush hour and look at what the existing conditions are. And then this would be far worse impact than what we already have. I mean, I don't know if they could have made it all taller than what's there to make the noise impact less, but I can tell you that I have air purifiers in my house that kind of drown out traffic noise to an extent, but going in our backyard during rush hour times is just too noisy. And this would be even impacted worse. So I'd like to consider that the alternate location would not be as impactful on people to utilize that location instead of this one, because it's already bad conditions. So thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Van Amber. All right, we'll now turn to those who'd like to speak back on the WebEx. I'm going to start off again with Vice Mayor Miranda Sweet. Is Vice Mayor Sweet showing up on the call? Please raise your hand if you're on the WebEx or on connected telephonically. Okay. If Vice Mayor Sweet does join, let me know if you can, if you see it. Come on, sir. All right, now on the WebEx, Mary Lou Rose. Ms. Rose, can you raise your hand?
I have sent a request
Can
to
you hear
unmute.
me?
Yes, ma'am, we've got you loud and clear. Begin.
Okay, thank you. Good morning and thank you for letting me speak. My name is Mary Lou Rose and I'm a resident of Clarkdale. For those unfamiliar with our area, Clarkdale is a small historic town neighboring Cottonwood. We are an hour's drive and a mountain pass away from Prescott, yet our skies are now dominated by Prescott-based flight training. This is a case of impact without representation. Decisions regarding the Cottonwood Airport are made by the Cottonwood Airport Commission that Clarkdale residents cannot vote for, yet these decisions are exporting a noise footprint for our quiet community. For over 40 years, the airport safely operated with an 800-foot traffic pattern that generally kept training activity over Cottonwood and within their legal navigation easements. In 2022, that was changed to 1,000 feet. Even though the official FAA charts still direct pilots to fly at 800 feet, the airport is using a temporary notice and noise abatement to push traffic higher without a formal safety study. That change has real consequences. It shifted roughly 60,000 annual operations, primarily repetitive training flights, directly over Clarkdale's homes, schools, churches, and Tuzigoot National Monument. Cottonwood was named Arizona's Airport of the Year in 2022, with ADOT citing its noise abatement program. But for Clarkdale residents, that success was simply a relocation. The noise was not reduced, it was moved to Clarkdale. A recent $34,000 traffic pattern study was completed for Cottonwood, but it consulted only with Embry-Riddle and 2 unidentified local pilots. It did not include outreach to the residents most affected, despite being funded with public money. It relied on only 3 days of flight data, did not mention Cottonwood's navigation easements, and did not evaluate the impact to Clarkdale. It appears that taxpayer dollars were used to fund a study that prioritized a training manual for a private university, while ignoring the residents living under the flight paths. The core issue is representation. Cottonwood residents have recorded navigation easements and representation. There are no navigation easements in Clarkdale, as a historic traffic pattern kept the repetitive flights in Cottonwood. Right now, Clarkdale has no vote, no easements, and no representation, yet we are bearing the impact. I urge you to withhold any further funding for Cottonwood Airport until Clarkdale is included and the traffic pattern is returned to the historic 800-foot altitude, keeping the repetitive flight pattern in Cottonwood. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Rose. Also on the WebEx, Carla Erickson. Ms. Erickson, can you please raise your hand?
I've sent you a request to unmute.
Morning, chair members, chair and members of the board. Thank you for letting me comment. My name is Carla Erickson, and I am also a resident of Clarkdale, Arizona. I would like to address the ongoing issue of repetitive flight training operations occurring over Clarkdale, Arizona. There has been a recent change to the traffic pattern altitude from the long-established 800 feet AGL as listed in the FAA chart supplement to a range of 1,000 feet AGL. This change was made without any communication or coordination with the town of Clarkdale, its leadership, or the residents. As a result, we have a significant increase in traffic flights being redirected over our community. These operations are not primarily conducted by our local pilots. In fact, approximately 2% of local pilots continue to operate at the long-established safe turning pattern. The increase in traffic is driven largely by non-local Embry-Riddle University training activity. Additionally, Clarkdale residents do not have navigation easements tied to their properties, as none exist within the town. This makes the increased and concentrated air traffic and noise particularly concerning for homeowners. I respectfully request that ADOT investigate the matter thoroughly before approving any additional grant funding for the town of Cottonwood Airport. We're asking that consideration be given to restoring the traffic pattern altitude back to the 800 feet AGL as it has historically been, and to implementing measures that prevent concentrated training operations over Clarkdale. Thank you very much for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Erickson. Starla Anderson.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, State Transportation Board members, Director Toth, and ADOT staff. My name is Starla Anderson, and I serve as the Transportation Planning Manager with Sun Corridor MPO. I would first like to thank ADOT for their continued partnership and collaboration with our region over the years. As you consider the fiscal year 27 to 31 tentative 5-year construction program, I want to highlight a critical pavement preservation project in Casa Grande. The project includes 2 segments on Pinal Avenue. The first segment is from the junction of State Route 84 and State Route 387 to the Santa Cruz Wash. And the second segment is from the Santa Cruz Wash to I-10. These segments ranked first and second respectively in both the South Central District and statewide P2P process for pavement preservation. These segments are not listed in the tentative program. Given the project's importance and strong performance in the ranking process, I respectfully urge the board to give this pavement preservation project full approval as you move forward in finalizing the fiscal year 27 to 31 program. Thank you for your consideration and continued support of Casa Grande in the region.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Mr. Ron Angarami.
Mr. Angarami, I've sent you a request to unmute.
Can everybody hear me? Hello?
Mr. Angarami, is that you? We can hear you. Mr. Angarami, can you hear us? Are we showing Mr. Angarami unmuted?
Yes, he is unmuted. He has appeared on the screen and then moved back off. So I'm trying to catch him to make sure he's unmuted. Mr. Angarami, if you can raise your hand again, you may have muted yourself. I've sent you a request to unmute. Please press *6 if you're using a phone. I can see you are unmuted.
Okay, can everyone hear me now?
We can hear you now, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So sorry for the trouble. Yes, thank you, members of the ADOT board, for the opportunity to speak today and your continued support and commitment for improving State Route 347. I'd like to briefly share some new information that underscores just how critical your work is right now. As you may be aware, both Temple Union School District and Kyrene School District are experiencing declining enrollment. One consequence of this is the elimination of school bus service for students traveling from Maricopa. This means, based on what I've heard, this could affect 150 to 220 students. This means that up to 150 to 220 additional daily trips, families driving with their children along State Route 347 instead of relying on school transportation. While this number may seem modest in the context of regional traffic, the impact is significant. These are young drivers and families navigating an already congested and at times dangerous corridor. These are not just additional vehicles. These are our children. This added pressure comes at a time when transportation budgets are under scrutiny and difficult decisions are being made. That's why I'm here today, to respectfully urge you to stay the course. The improvements outlined in your current 5-year plan are not just infrastructure upgrades, they are safety investments. They will directly impact the well-being of families who depend on State Route 347 every day. I ask that you maintain the plan as it stands and avoid any reductions or delays. The need is real, it is growing, and it is personal, especially now for these 150 to 220 students who will soon be part of that daily traffic. Thank you again for your leadership, your commitment, and your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Angarami. One more chance, Vice Mayor Sweet, are you on the line? If so, please raise your hand. All right, so this time I will close the call to the audience. I do want to say thank you for everybody who's participated in the call to the audience today. This is the best way to get your message directly to the members of the State Transportation Board. Obviously, we see the emails and there's been some municipalities that have gotten really good at doing those, but I still think showing up in person, I just want to thank you for being here. That means a lot to all of us, because we now understand how much everybody cares about not only infrastructure in general, but obviously what impacts them as well. So thank you all for participating today. We will now move on to the director's report.
Good morning. Yes, thank you. We are very happy to be here in El Mirage today. Thank you, Mayor and Board, for your hospitality. We have a few agency updates to share today. So next slide. The first up, I do want to highlight the fact that Pima County voters on March 10th passed Propositions 418 and 419, also known as RTA Next. Yes. For you. So in doing so, they approved a new 20-year regional transportation plan for the county and renewed the existing half-cent sales tax that funds that plan. The vote authorizes $2.67 billion worth of investment to address transportation needs in southern Arizona. This is going to help the area, obviously, with congestion, improve mobility, and enhance transit options, as well as overall safety. It's a major win for transportation in our state, and I want to thank everyone who worked to inform and educate voters about the importance, including our own Chairman Maxwell. So thank you very much for that. Next slide, please. Next up, we have some more good news. Interstate 17 Improvement Project was honored recently with 2 awards. On March 11th, it was named the 2025 Project of the Year by the American Society of Civil Engineers Phoenix branch, who called the project a remarkable achievement in mobility and safety. And then back in December, it was announced that the project made it to the Roads and Bridges Top 10 Road Awards, and it was named road number 6. And the project was recognized for adding that capacity and congestion and enhancing the safety. So we always appreciate it when our projects are recognized, especially when the safety benefits are emphasized. So big thanks to our project teams, the contractor, our crews, ADOT team, for all the collaboration work that it took to finish that project. Next slide, please. Some fun stuff. I always share the Name a Snowplow contest. And so we've got some 4 fun, very fun names. Now let's see if I can pronounce them. We have Cleopatra, Blizzard Wizard, Scooby Doo, and Saltimus Prime. So that a big reminder, 2,300 names were submitted in the first phase of that contest in late January, and then voted down to the final 12 that the public voted on. These new names have now been placed on our snowplows at the Flagstaff Maintenance Yard. This competition always gets a lot of attention and helps bring awareness to the importance of the snowplow operators who make our highways travel much safer when those winter storms hit the state. And next slide. Today is the official start of spring, which means spring training, spring break, out-of-town visitors, and lots of activities scheduled around the state. Just want to take the opportunity to remind everyone to drive cautiously, watch for cyclists and pedestrians. And as always, don't drive distracted, put your phone down, keep your eyes up and focus on the road. And so even though it's only spring, we are experiencing some summertime temperatures in parts of our state. So just remind everyone that extreme heat is already something to be aware of if you're planning to travel. Make sure you have water in your car, pack a safety kit before you go, and you can always check the 511.gov or website or dial 511 on the road. And lastly, based on the last board meeting, I wanted to update you on the 3 pavement preservation, or actually 4 pavement preservation projects that were moved out of the program last year in order to make room for both Lime Springs, which is on the consent agenda today, and the 347 project. The SR 85 project is on the consent agenda today as well. So that's good news. The US 70 project, Cottonwood to Ray Lane, is anticipated to move into fiscal year 26 with funding capacity from those bid savings and close out of projects. The I-10 San Simon to the New Mexico state line is being advanced fiscal year 26. It will actually come to the board via PPAC and board agenda item in April. And then that allows the I-40 Curino, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Hawthorne project will then be programmed in fiscal year 27. So with that, that's all I have today. I'll turn it over to Amy for our legislative update.
Thank you. Amy, it's all yours.
Thank you, Director. Can you all hear me?
We can, loud and clear.
Wonderful. First of all, I just want to welcome our newest board member, Mr. Coleman. So happy to see you there. I'm looking forward to working with you again. We had the opportunity to work together when he served in the legislature and then went on to be a JP. So very happy to have you with us. I'll just kill some time here as we get the slides up and ready to go. It's been a very busy week. Next week, as you'll see here, is the final week to hear bills in the second chamber. So as you can imagine, there are going to be some very long agendas. So several bills that we've been tracking for the state board that I just wanted to touch briefly on this morning, and then I'll let you get on to the business of the day. Next slide, please. So we're on day 69 of what theoretically, as we know, should be a 100-day session. Rarely is. Still sitting at 1,966 bills that were introduced. 20 bills have been passed, 12 have been vetoed, 5 have been signed into law. And in terms of memorials, resolutions introduced, that's around 124, and 12 of those have been transmitted to the Secretary of State. Next slide, please. So just a few key dates ahead. As I mentioned, next week is the last week to hear bills in the second chamber. So for those who are unfamiliar with the legislative process, House bills must pass through the House and then through the Senate in identical versions. Same goes for Senate bills are transmitted to the House. So we are in that phase right now where House bills are being heard in the Senate committees and vice versa. Any bill that is amended in the opposite chamber, if the sponsor doesn't agree or if there's not consensus, those bills will go to what are called conference committees made up of members from both chambers and both parties. The last day for consideration of bills in conference committees will be Friday, April 17th. And then that magic 100th day of session will fall on Saturday, April 25th. Next slide, please. Oh goodness, I need my glasses. So just a couple of bills I wanted to highlight of interest, and then quite a few bills that are appropriating monies to the agency that we'll quickly go through. But just a few that we've been tracking in terms of public records and public meetings and other funding sources. Public records format and fees. This bill has passed the Senate and is now pending the House Government Committee. Would require public records to be provided in the least expensive manner possible. The alternative fuel tax passed the Senate in February. This bill would have removed the exemption of alternative fuel vehicles from the used fuel tax and established an alternative. The bill has not advanced, so we've removed it from most of our trackers, but since we had it on the agenda last month, I wanted to make sure to give you an update on that. But it was heard in committee, but has not since advanced. The bill that would allow the legislature to control non-custodial federal monies did pass the House, was transmitted to the Senate, and has since passed the Senate Appropriations Committee, and will go on to the full Senate next. Similar legislation, I will say, has been vetoed in the past by several different governors. So not that I'm predicting, but if there are any concerns, would just point that out, that it's a bill we typically see most legislative sessions. And then finally, the bill that would require the 100% transfer of TPT from customer or public facing electric vehicle charging stations to the HERF was heard in the House Transportation and Appropriations Committee, but did not receive a hearing in the House Appropriations Committee. So at this point, it has not advanced, but certainly a policy decision or discussion that could be continued as they move towards budget negotiations. Next slide, please. And then just a few more, House Bill.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry.
No, continue. Sorry, just the slides caught up.
Okay. Yes. House Bill 2400. This bill would create a motor fuel tax holiday. I had noted when I created my slides, and I apologize, y'all always get them somewhat late. It's because I try to have them as most up to date as possible. We had anticipated a strike everything amendment in the Senate on this bill. As I noted here, there is now a posted strike everything amendment to this bill, so and unrelated. So I know there were some concerns from different communities about the impact this would have on the State Highway Fund and the HERF, but it appears the bill will be used for another purpose. So just wanted to allay any concerns there. House Bill 2601, the I-11 Environmental Engineering Study. This bill passed the House and has been transmitted to the Senate and would require ADOT request FHWA segment the I-11 project between I-10 and Casa Grande and Wickenburg, excuse me. And then finally, another bill related to public bodies and executive sessions. This bill is pending the Senate Government Committee that has passed the House and would prohibit a public body from placing a proposal to impose or increase a tax rate, assessment, or fee on a consent agenda for a meeting. Next slide, please. And now I won't go through all of these because there are a lot. As you may have seen, quite a few bills. Transportation is definitely a topic of interest at the legislature this session. So we've seen quite a few bills introduced in both the House and the Senate. One note, I would say that in going through and reviewing everything, the House bills that were introduced that appropriated monies either to ADOT or through ADOT to a local jurisdiction were typically all double assigned to transportation and the appropriations committees. I believe almost all of them were heard in House Transportation, but have not yet received a hearing in the House Appropriations Committee, which would presumably assume those bills will not advance since they didn't receive that second chamber hearing. However, again, we know as they move into budget negotiations, and as you'll see here, a lot of these bills in the Senate that appropriate monies for various projects passed the Senate and have now been double assigned in the House. And again, I apologize, several here, 1062, 63, 64, and 1154 passed the Senate yesterday and then were actually placed on an agenda yesterday evening. So again, this is still not as current as it could be because I sent it yesterday evening, but I believe almost all of these bills will be heard next week in House Transportation and then will be additionally assigned to the appropriations committees. And if there are any questions on any of these, please feel free to ask. Next slide, please. Just want to make sure you have visibility on all of the bills. So again, these bills that have passed the Senate and have now, I think, almost all been assigned to the House Transportation Committee. And since next week is the last week to hear bills, presumably all of these bills will be heard in the House Transportation Committee next week. Next slide, please. And these are all the Senate bills. And then moving on to the House bills. And again, I noted the bills were heard in the House, but not heard in House Appropriations. They were heard in Transportation. Again, not indicative that the proposals don't have support. It's just an indicator these will likely end up in budget negotiations. Next slide, please. And as you can see, quite a few bills that appropriate money for various projects. Next slide, please. and a few more there. The House Bill 2304, I'll just point that one out. Towards the bottom there, that is the annual RTAC bill. There was an opportunity for folks who had projects contained in that bill to speak in House Transportation, and I know that was appreciated by a lot of the folks that made the trek down to the state capitol. Next slide, please. Just a few more. Again, the only one I will point out, HB 2761, the appropriation for the Cornville Road Study. That bill was held in committee, so that is the only one that did not advance out of this page. Next slide, please. And I think those will wrap up all of the funding bills of interest. Next slide, please. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, Amy, this is Ted Maxwell. I just want to confirm 2,400. I've spoke with a couple legislators tomorrow, and I believe you just made the statement it's not going to be moving forward. Is that correct?
And the underlying bill, Mr. Chairman, I apologize. The underlying bill, HB 2400, is being used as a strike everything amendment. So the gas tax holiday bill is effectively dead in that form.
That's glad they get the confirmation of that, because that obviously was a huge impact on what we want. I've got a question really for staff on this one. I mean, we've seen this has been a trend in the recent years where legislators are directing how our money's spent on a lot of these projects. I think it's a good sign because it lets us legislators understand that we do not have enough money currently in the state system to fund all the needs. So I think at some point we're going to be getting more conversations with them to potentially offer some solutions. Historically, though, sometimes the challenge is what they propose in the legislature isn't really enough money to do the project. Do we have estimates on any of these projects as they're currently proposed? Because I do think that's something during the budget negotiations. There's might be a need for folks who do weigh in on projects to say that some of these projects, they're going to come out of the rest of the funding, and then other things get removed from the 5-year plan as well. So do we have any estimates yet?
So as these projects come up in the legislature, one of the things that occurs is we do put together estimates for these according to the scope that they give us. So that's part of the issue that we have. But yes, we do that on every single one.
If you've got every one of them, I'd just love to see maybe a list of it so we can compare the two prices. So I have a sense of, and some of the other board members may want to see that too, a sense of what they're not, as you said, as scoped. We know when we go do scopes, especially if federal dollars get involved in the projects as well, then a whole bunch of things change. So I'd love to see those lists. That'd be greatly appreciated. Are there any more questions from any members of the board for Amy?
I have one. Amy, this is Doug. On some of those that are being held up in House appropriations, could those end up in the budget? Is that part of the strategy?
Mr. Chairman, Board Member Coleman, yes, that would be my assumption. The bills in the House are all double assigned to transportation and appropriations. I think if you notice this year in the Senate, they combined the appropriations and transportation committees. So bills that were heard in the Senate essentially went through both committees at once. I'm sure you may recall from your time there that it was not uncommon. Any money bill typically gets slowed down towards the end as they enter into budget negotiations. So my expectation is that folks who have introduced bills will advocate for them in small group meetings, but we have not heard anything to that effect yet. But I believe that's likely anything that did not get heard in appropriations could still very well show up in budget negotiations. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Just a question or a follow-up for I think you said you take the information that is given to you and you put an estimate to it based on the scope of it. And I just want to make sure I understand it. I think you're being very kind and generous to call it scoping. Because it's really, I suppose, no more than add a lane here, add a lane there, or something to that level. So when I think of scoping, I think of, professionally done document that goes from point A to point B and has more details in it. That is not what we're talking about here, and I just wanted to make sure at least you and I and the rest of the world is on the same page.
You are correct. It's fairly limited information that we go off of.
Okay, and Mr. Chairman, that's really why I think the comments were made last board meeting, which is where allocations are made often enough, they miss the mark when the project moves forward and the department attempts to deliver it. And some of them struggle and some never are completed. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Elders. Yeah, and to reiterate some of the comments, there's a lot of projects over the last 4 or 5 years. It's really become I think, a trend. And since I've joined the board, to see the legislature, individual legislators do it because they recognize the 5-year process is very difficult to get a project on in the plan because of funding, lack of funding. And they're also getting frustrated with where they put money and seem to claw back from their own requirements and projects that they got gone away. And now their citizens are going to get to see it. And I think they understand that there's a need to fix the current situation. That doesn't mean we've got anywhere close to broad-based support to do it, but it's something that I think needs to continue to be part of the discussion. So are there any questions from any of the members online? I still remember you're all there and I appreciate it.
Chair, this is Jenny. I just want to make a comment to the director's report. I'm very, very happy that we were able to pull these 3 maintenance projects back. We made a commitment as a board when we moved the monies, and I appreciate staff working hard to keep an eye out on those. I know I've questioned about every meeting to see how that's going, and I truly do appreciate it, and I know that the users of these roads do as well. Thank you.
I will reiterate that as well, Director. I was pleased to see you incorporating that update in your comments.
I do want to also, I forgot to mention that Board Member Bracker had asked for the pavement and bridge conditions projections for 5 to 10 years out versus the historical. We will bring that back to the board at the next meeting as an agenda item.
Okay, thank you. Any of those have any comments for the director? I appreciate the shout out on the RTA Next. That's our 479 for those of you who are here in Maricopa. It was critical for our region. It passed 60 to 40 in a special election with almost a 50% increase in the voter turnout. So we felt very confident with that. And it actually makes it easier for the rest of the state because now there's funds coming in to support our project needs, which hopefully will free up more funding throughout other areas of the state. So appreciate the support. Back up everybody's hat on that one. All right, well, that completes the director's report. Let's move on to the consent agenda. Do any of the members have anything that they would like removed from the consent agenda or questions? Okay, hearing none, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Mr. Chair. I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Second. Now, Mr. Byers, I'm assuming that you're talking about is what do we want to highlight the award of the one? I'm getting a hand signal from you. What's that?
Give me a second.
But going for item 3, since you already called for the question, and then if you want, you go back to item 2, or you can ignore
I
it.
tell you, all the turnout today has just got me flustered. So I did miss item number 2, but we do have a motion from Member Elders. We've got a second from Member Peshlikai. So do I have any further discussion on that? All right, all those in favor, please acknowledge by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, are there any opposed? All right, the chair also votes aye, and having there are no opposed, it passes unanimously. Now, let's come back to what we really want to hear, and that's the district report with Randy Everett. Sorry about skipping over that. Was a lack of interest?
Mr. Chair, members of the board. My name is Randy Everett. Good morning. I am the district administrator for the Phoenix area. And I want to make this super quick. I was up here in December, heard a lot of this, and since there's a couple of new members of the board, we thought it'd be a good idea just to go over this really quickly. So, give me a start here. I will go through this very quickly. A lot of great things happening in Phoenix, and we'll look at a lot of the projects that are just done and ongoing. Okay. Keep going. Oh, I can do it myself. All right then. Perfect. Okay. So recently completed project, just so you know what's finished up for us. I-17 is now done, at least the 74 to the end area, which was a Milledgeville. That being done, that makes the asphalt and or concrete all the way up through the Phoenix area now complete. So we have a good 17 riding spots. Another one that is just recently completed is our Princess de Shea on the 101. That was just completed in January. That is now complete. We will do the diamond grinding on that in the near future, and now we'll finish that project. Projects, a lot of them. I-17 to the 75th, that's the 101, which is up the road here. That is now almost 70% complete. That will finish in March 2027. We have the one down in the south part, which is on the 202. That's from the 101 to Bella Vista. 67%, so close to 70% on that project, also finishing in the spring of 27. We have the Gila River Bridge, that is about 90% done now. That will finish a little bit later this year. Very exciting project that we'd like to have done very quickly. US 60X, which is the one we will be giving back to our MCDOT partners. That is about 90%. That is going to be asphalt will be on that in the next few weeks, and then we will put in the final touches on that one, and that one will be done. 17303, these are the ones that are just started. This is where we had our kickoff the other day. This is just about 5% started. We're just out of the gate on this one. The other one that we're just out of the gate on is the SR51 I-10 to Shea diamond grinding. That just started last weekend. So we will continue on that one. We're very starting stages of that. And the big upcoming projects that have just opened recently, we have the I-10 SR1, that's the designated HRB lane. That will start very shortly, and then will end in mid-2028. And then the 303, that just opened recently, and that's from the 303 from Van Buren down to the NC 5. Again, that will start very shortly in the summer, and will finish in early 2029. Jackrabbit is coming also. That just opened, or that will be opening soon. That will finish in late 2027, and then I think that is it. And that's the big projects that are coming. So that's all we've got. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Do any of the members of the board, either online or on the dais, have a question for Mr. Everett?
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Randy. Appreciate it. We will now move on to agenda item 4, financial report with Tim Newton. This is for information and discussion only.
Good morning, Chairman Maxwell, board members. Say good morning to Director Toth, but he's gone. She doesn't want to hear this. But it's all good to be discussed. Let's start off with how we use the revenue fund year to date. So as you can see, through the end of February, it's looking good. 5% above projection, right within our range. Through the end of February, we had projected that we would collect $1,199 million. We're about $5 million above that. $204 million. Okay, my next slide is a snapshot for her for the month of February. As the board might remember, a couple of months ago, our December snapshot showed all of these revenue categories down compared to our forecast. And if you remember last month, our snapshot for January showed all of these revenue categories up compared to our forecast. This month we have a mixed bag. Some under, some over, and registration pretty much spot on there. And as I said in the previous slide, year to date, we're looking very good with her. So, bring on to the regional area growth fund, or RAF. You should recall RAF is 1 month behind her, so this is through the end of January. RAF is looking good, 1.4% above projection, right within range. We had anticipated through the end of January collecting $457.5 million for RAF. We are in fact $6.5 million above that forecast, and through the end of January we had collected $464 million. So onto our snapshot for RAF. Of January, the board will remember we were keeping an eye on a couple of revenue categories, most notably contracting. It had been lagging behind the prior year and behind our forecasts for, I think, 4 or 5 of the previous months. This month there's been a little rebound, still below prior year, but above our forecast. We will continue to keep an eye on contracting. The other one we've been watching, the rental of personal property, it still continues to exceed both our forecast and the prior year. My experts back at the range say that people are just renting equipment and tools like gangbusters, way above our expectations. What I really wanted to draw the board's attention to on this slide, though, is the other category. You'll see it's up 76% of the prior year and almost 70% over our forecast. From time to time, when the Department of Revenue goes back and does an audit of the taxpayers, and they collect on that audit, that payment goes into the other bucket. That's not what happened in this case. This is prepayment of Prop 479 funds. So as you know, the January numbers are to do with December activity. Prop 479 didn't take effect until January 1st, but we have entities out there that prepay. And in this case, it was about $1 million of prepayment of Prop 479, and Department of Revenue rolled it up. So there really should be $1 million in that other that's sprayed across those other categories. We reached out to DOR. They've assured us, in fact, we've seen the reports now, so we know it's good going forward. Prop 479 will go in the correct buckets. This 1 month is enough to do those prepayments. Okay, additional updates. Really, my additional update here is to do with our debt issuance. The board approved a refinancing or refunding of our HERF 2016 debt and our HERF 2020 debt back in January. Also, the issuance of new debt to the tune of $500 million. We successfully issued that debt a couple of weeks ago. When I came to the board in January, our estimates for savings of the refinancing and refunding was about $31.3 million. It was a very stressful experience because we had gone to war with Iran a day and a half before we issued. The stock market didn't know what it was doing. The treasury market didn't know what it was doing. I don't have the fingernails left, but we actually ended up saving net present value of $32.3 million, so actually $1 million more than we thought. So promised myself that we would look for common times next time we issue debt. One other thing I wanted to mention, last month the board asked if I could present every month that obligations year to date went back to my team. It's quite a manual process to put that together, pulling data from multiple systems. I reached out to Chairman Maxwell, and he agreed that every other month would be okay for now. So the board should look for that obligation being to date next month. That concludes my report. Is there any questions?
Any members of the board have questions for Tim? Anybody online have any questions for Tim? It's not gonna be that easy, Tim, because I might have a couple. One, the $479 that you said went in and appropriated the wrong category, you said will be corrected going forward. Will they go back and redistribute those in February to show their rightful place? Or will that just always be enough?
I don't know for sure. I don't know the answer that. I'll have to follow up.
And if they recognize that the money's actually going into those other categories, if they could correct February and present those to the next board meeting, that would be great as well. It's going to give us the full picture. And then the other question I've got, you already mentioned the impact, and obviously turned out well for us on the bond issuance. Have you seen any indications of the gas or diesel use fuels going up or being impacted at all by the increase in gas prices?
Yeah, Chairman, I guess we do. We've seen, the prices of fuel go up. We've done some exercises, reported out to the governor's office, maybe it's $5 a gallon, maybe $6 a gallon. What's the impact of some of those worst case scenarios, if you will? We are in good shape for this fiscal year. If it continues to be high, we'll have to look at, we mitigate some of that for next fiscal year.
Okay, seeing no other questions. Thank you, Tim. Appreciate it. All right, we'll now move on to agenda item 5 with Iqbal Hussain, the Multimodal Planning Division report. Morning, Iqbal.
Morning, Mr. Chair and members of the board. Iqbal Hussain here with Multimodal Planning Division. Today I will be providing the tribal transportation updates. First, I would like to begin with a great example of building a proactive partnership between the tribal communities and our students. On March 13th, the request we received from Navajo Nation DOT, and based on that, we have a meeting with the Federal Aviation Administration and our own ARTC. The Navajo Nation came to us wanting to learn more about understanding and what funding opportunities are available then through the FAA and our ART. They also wanted to understand the process of airport planning, capital improvement program, and also what kind of, how they can apply for FAA funding, how this process works. So very gradual discussion, the meeting was truly productive and informative for them, and the FAA and ART both encouraged Navajo Nation DOT to keep the lines of communication open. We also committed to continue to support the relationship moving forward. We talked about Austin gas station a couple of months ago, but I also want to give you an update, report a quick update on the Austin gas station today. This is one of the scoping projects. The scope of work is the restoration of the old Austin gas station into new use. At this stage, we are moving into the public component. This project, which is an important step as we move forward and develop the conceptual design. Of course, we have to make sure we are hearing from all stakeholders before we move forward. We are gathering the input in 2 ways. First, by holding a public meeting, and also we are opening for public comments for 2 weeks. Finally, I wanted to update the board on an important safety effort we started in the Highland area on US 160 and 163. Following some concerns raised by Highland chapter officials and Highland Township, ever conducted a road safety audit on these two routes. We kicked off this project on March 2nd, and field reviews were conducted on March 9th and 10th. And we looked at the road condition, intersection, site distance, and roadside hazard. One of the most valuable moments from that field review was sitting down with the school district transportation department. And we heard from 15 bus drivers and what kind of challenges they face every day. So this is impressive, 15 bus drivers. So what we heard from them, the bus driver, they told us that there are no designated bus loads. There are a lot of unpaid shoulders, and of course, excessive speeding by other drivers. That is hazardous and unsafe for the drivers and also for students. So this is the kind of the kind of community input is very important to make a meaningful RSA, so we can come back. So the team can come back and do their research and find the appropriate solution. So the team will analyze the data and will identify the safety issues and then issue a report shortly. And we look forward to the findings and the recommended solutions. This concludes my final updates. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions from any members of the board? I've got one out of curiosity because being the pilot on the board, does BIA, are they part of those conversations as well when you're doing it with ADOT?
Yes, BIA was part of this as well.
Okay. Now, do they also, what's the breakdown of control or input on the airports like Chinle and some of the other ones that are on the reservations?
So this was the first meeting we had. So basically, what kind of funding opportunities the community will have, that's what we discussed. We'll have the next meeting in a month and we'll have more information on that. But basically, they wanted to see what is the application process to apply for funding, what kind of fundings are available for them.
Okay, thank you. And Mayor Hermosillo pointed out to me, when you hear the sound of freedom coming overhead, if it gets really loud, it might be best just to pause in the speaking because it may be difficult for the microphones don't pick up your voice as well. So I'd say keep rolling. If we hear any of the other board members have problems picking anything up, I'd like for that to be, please let us know.
I should have shared that ahead of time. I'm just so used to the base being next to our, here at the city of Alvarado, we're so used to pausing. So thank you so much.
Yeah, no, it's great. I went through training here at Luke, so I'm glad to be back near the noise. Member Bashkai.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I almost hit the deck. Just kidding. I want to say thank you for reaching out to the bus drivers because they are the ones that are really hyper aware of the use of the highways, safety, and all of that. I think that's a good place to start. And then also back in 2013, Senator Jack Jackson Jr. Ran a bill to have state airport funding for tribal airports. And that's only been 13 years. And I know in being out in the community, I'm not quite sure how the tribes have been able to spend that money. So I just wanted that to mention that. I'm not going to put another job on your plate. So thank you.
Well, it's the chair's opinion, it's important for us all to remember that it's important to encourage the legislature not to sweep the airport funding. It's another situation. There's not enough, especially for the smaller airports that don't have federal grants coming in on a routine basis. And it's amazing how many small aircraft fly around the state of Arizona every day. So appreciate the report, and especially reaching out on that. Continue with you, Paul. It's your show.
Thank you. So now I would like to give the board an update on the tentative 2027 to 2031 5-year program. The public comment period opened on March 2nd and it will run through May 22nd. We have been very active in getting the word out through news releases, targeted emails to nearly 13,000 subscribers, social media, and also on ADOT's website. And I'm happy to share that we have already begun receiving quite a bit of public comments. As of March 15, we have received over 100 comments for the online form. Additionally, we have other channels set up for public to share their thoughts, including emails, comments made at the board meetings, also phone and the letter. Right, so on this, under the major themes, this slide shows that routes who have that have received at least 10 comments, and the major themes are first, the avoiding of 347. Second, on I-10 in Bendigo and Pima County, comments are made on road conditions and safety at several locations. And finally, third one is the several projects being requested on US 60, such as widen and resurface 60 from Route 303 to Wickenburg, and improve the signage there at 303 and 60 interchange, and widen 60 in the East Valley from Mesa to Gold Canyon. Finally, here a brief tutorial on using the Excel file provided to the board. It has all the public comments. We also include this information when we send this file to you, Mr. Chair, and the members of the board. This concludes my updates on the 5-year planning program. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions from any member of the board? Any online?
Chair, I do have one. Just a follow up, and I've been notified with regards to these projects as well, and it's back in Pinal County, the pavement preservation projects. There are 2 of them from 387 to Santa Cruz Wash and Santa Cruz Wash to the I-10 that were first and second on the P2P process. And if we could just have some follow up on the status of those projects and if they will be placed on the 5-year plan.
Yes, we'll do it.
All right, thank you. At this time, we're going to move into, I think that's completion of your MPD.
Yes, item 7 actually.
Thank you. What about item 6 for the AZ Smart Fund?
To item 6.
Yep, we'll move on to item 6, the Arizona State Match Advantage for Rural Transportation, AZ Smart Fund Program. Iqbal, you have the floor still.
Thank you. I'll move on to item 6, which is AZ Smart Funds Program.
We do have two applications today for your consideration, Mr. Chair and members of the board. But before I get to the applications, I would like to share with you the current financial report from the AZ Smart program. Let's start with the highlighted euro, the euro line that's showing the amount for current available for award. And in a minute, I will present two applications for the board's consideration. These are identified under the current request. Next to the current available request. This balance reflects the amount available in each category if the board chooses to approve two different applications. Below that section is the pending request section, which shows projects currently being reviewed. And we plan to bring these projects to the board and the future board. Next, I'll move on to the applications. We have two applications today. Our first application is from the city of Flagstaff. It's requesting $1,825,000 for design for extension of John Wesley Hall Road. The total project cost is estimated at $19.4 million. And Flagstaff is planning to pursue the raise grant for construction. This project falls under the municipality's 10K class population at Canterbury, and it scored 42 points. And our second and the final project is from the Class County. They're requesting $1,608,223 for design to rehabilitate a segment at Vicksburg Road. The total project cost of this is estimated $16.1 million, with Lucas County planning to pursue the mega grant for this construction. This category, this project is under the category of county under 100,000 population, and it scored 43 points. And finally, the today's requested actions are to award the city of Flagstaff in the amount of $1,825,000, and for the class county amount of $1,608,223.
All right, do we have any questions from any members of the board?
Mr. Chairman.
Member Alters.
Just looking at the amount requested and the amount available in each of those categories, for the municipal greater than 10K, awarding 1.8 would leave about 800,000. I'm just checking. My understanding is this balance is rebalanced twice a year. So July 1st of this year, which is the beginning of the fiscal year 2027, this will be rebalanced again, hoping that the legislature will continue to fund it. Correct?
Right.
The other related question I have, Mr. Chairman, is in the estimates. I drilled down a little bit at both applications. I'm looking at the estimates. Very thorough, very detailed. The two items that sort of raised question in my mind. One was the construction administration set at 18%. And then one set is added, the last item says ADOT reviews. It doesn't break it down by percentage, but in both projects, it averages about $2 million. And I just didn't see where that was coming from. I was not relating to it. I don't mean to ask you a question that you don't have the info to answer it, but it would be great to explain those things at some point. Is 18% standard? Is that what is recommended? Is that what is required? Because it seems like on the high end in both projects, it's either over or at $2 million. And, understanding the complexity of the project may require a little higher or a little lower but in my world, 18% is a lot. And then the ADOT review on top of that. Thank you.
Mr. Chair and members, others. So that varies from between 12 and 20%. So typically it's 15%. But sometimes when we use consultant on the project, it gets a little bit higher. So I'm suspecting that this project will be better than consultant. But I'll be able to give you more information. I'll look into this and get back with more information. But this is what I'm thinking. If the project is administered by the consultant, usually it's more than 15%.
That will work. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, I'd like to ask a follow-up question if we could, on the earlier comment by member elders. We will, in July, respread the money, but based on the current pending match awards that are pending, we already have a shortfall of not being able to issue the majority of those, even after, if we take the full 13 million, which is currently available, it won't be if we approve both of these, and then spread it out, we still will have a shortfall in that municipal over 10,000, as I see it, unless we get additional funding from the state legislature. Is there anything currently at the state legislature consider? I know we've recommended to them to do it, to consider them to continue to fund AZ Smart Fund. Is that going to be part of the budget discussion, or do we have an update of what they're thinking about this program?
Mr. Chairman, the executive budget did include an item for the Arizona Smart Fund. But as we know, the sausage making machine, we have not seen the legislature's budget at this time. So it's hard to know what their intent is going to be during budget negotiations.
And directors, a follow-up with that money, if it makes it and survives through the budget process, which is, it's going to be a challenge. Would that be available to us also on July 1st? Or when does that become officially available to us? Is it 90 days after the budget signed, or?
I believe it is July 1st, but I'm looking at Tim and he's giving me the thumbs up.
So if we can keep that money in there, then we obviously will have more funding to do some of the other things that category is. But our only option is when we redistribute it evenly. We can't pick and choose where we want to put it, correct? That's what.
Yeah, the state statute.
Okay. All right. Any other further questions from members of the board?
I do, Mr. Chair.
Member Pestrichai.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. With that discussion, Mr. Chair, where does that put us in moving these items forward today?
Well, unless there's a member that would prefer to hold on one of those items, our next step will be to ask for individual motions on those two items. We're going to take them individually.
Mr. Chairman. For me, I believe both projects are worthy, and the communities put the effort to put them in front of us. There is funding for them, and I certainly support both of them. And my question to you is, would you like to take them separately? Is that the better way to go? Or
If you're willing to make the motion together, we can do that as well.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I move to award to the city of Flagstaff in the amount of $1,825,000 for design and other engineering services for J.W. Powell Boulevard, as well as an award to La Paz County in the amount of $1,608,223 for design and other engineering services of Vicksburg Road.
A second.
I have a motion by member Elders and a second by member Hermosillo. Any further discussion on either one of these items? Anyone online? All right. Hearing no further discussion, please acknowledge if you're supportive of this by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, say. All right, hearing no nays, the chair also votes aye, and this passes unanimously for those two Smart Fund applications. All right, thank you very much. Now we'll move on to PPAC, which is also with Iqbal Hussein.
Yes. Thank you very much for approving the smart funds to applications. Appreciate it. Then I'll move on to item number 7, which is priority planning advisory committee items for discussion and possible action. Today we have 2 categories of projects to present: project modifications and the new projects. As usual, I plan to group both categories under one motion for board's consideration. And I'd like to present the proposed changes to the FY 2026 to FY 2030 State Transfer and Facilities Construction Program, items 7A through 7K project modifications, and items 7L through 7U are new projects. And for the board's consideration, the requested action is approval of the priority planning advisory committee items 7A through 7U.
All right, are there any items that any members would like to approve or to remove from this list? Hearing none, looking for a motion to approve items 7A through 7U.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the feedback items as listed, project modifications, as well as new projects from item 7A through 7U.
I second.
I have a motion from member Elters and a second from member Hermosillo. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by voting aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by voting nay? All right, chair votes aye as well, and hearing no nays, that passes unanimously for approving items 7A through 7U. We'll now move on to agenda item 8, the state engineer's report with Auditor Merrick. Thank you, Iqbal.
Good morning, Chairman Mayor, Deputy Director, State Engineer. I have item number 8 for you today, the State Engineers Report, March 20th, 2026. We have 113 projects under construction at a total of $2.6 billion. 4 projects have been franchised for the month of February at $18.7 million. And year to date, we have 65 projects finalized, just the case, 113. 80 of those are actually state projects and 30 bigger total projects. You have to look at that with the distribution of the same. I'll just touch upon a few of our district highlights up in the Northwest district. We have the West Canyon project and both US 93 projects. We're looking for them to be completed in 2027 and the US 60 project this summer. I'm just going to briefly go with you these guys instead of reading all these to you all. Up in North Central, the 2 projects on top. Those are 0% complete. We just started partnering in pre-con meetings for those, and we expect those to begin work by the beginning of the month. And then the 3 projects, the lower three projects are currently in first shutdown, and we expect them to resume in April. Over in the Northeast District, those three lower projects will start work in April. Down in the Southwest District, our big highlight here is the City of Travis Boulevard project, which has just started. They're just installing some friendly lister fencing now to help us down there. And they're going to be working on some temporary pavement to start having that temporary pavement in place to have that future phasing work construction. And 1 second. Looking at down to the South Central District, which is here. The projects are well underway. I'm expected to be complete in 2026, with the exception of the I-10 here in the Country Club, which is 2028. And then the I-19 Irvington TI project, which is kind of similar, essentially advertising that construction. Down to the Southeast District, these projects are about 40 to 50% complete. The Queen Creek and Waterfall Canyon Bridge projects are estimated to be complete in June of 2028. While that US 70 Medicine Way, that's a passing lane project, and that's estimated to be complete this summer. We do have a single district slide in here today. We do have a district report that Brandy provided. So I will provide any other information on that slide. And that completes the state engineer's report. If we have any questions, otherwise I will go ahead and move on to item 9.
Do I have any questions from any members of the board? All right, let's move to item 9, construction contracts.
Okay, so let's see, moving on to item number 9, the new construction contracts. On the slide here, this is a continuation of the next slide, which are all of these. We have had 14 projects opened in the month of February. 6 projects were in the consent agenda, which were on the previous slide and you approved earlier, so thank you. And then there are 8 here, which are item 9, which are new construction contracts that we'll be discussing here in a few minutes. Looking at the bottom of the slide, for the total this month, we ran about 14.9% under the department estimate. All 8 projects, like I said, we'll be talking about here in a few minutes, and are all being recommended for award today. And then this is just our monthly flow slide. You can see there in March, you see that 14% again, where we ran under for the current month. And then year to date looks like it's 12.5% under the current fiscal year. So today, like I said, we do have those 8 projects under item 9. I can go ahead and talk with them about individually if you like.
So I'm gonna ask if there's any members of the board that want to pull out any of these, otherwise we could discuss a couple of the projects and then vote on them in their entirety. Anybody want to pull any items from a vote if we take it in its entirety? Okay, everybody looked good on that. I would like you, if you could, Audra, as we always try to learn in this, if you could talk to the 2 that are over estimate. And I believe one of the ones was more than 50% or close to 50% under estimate. If you could just highlight those to us, that'd be great.
And share those
numbers. That's 9A. I'll run through them real quick. 9A, 9D. And 9F. We could get the briefing on A, D, and F, and then we can take the package as a whole from 9A through 9F. H, I'm sorry.
Sure. So we'll move on first to item 9A. This is a bridge redown project on Interstate 17, State Route 179 interchange. We have a low bid of $2,480,223. It is over its estimate by $685,646, or 38.2%. This project consists of removing the existing bridge deck surface by some mechanical milling and then applying an overlay to that what we call PPC overlay or polyester polymer overlay. The contractor, when we reviewed the bid, they did propose some different phasing for this project. It has some additional cost impacts due to the offered nighttime work, which was not assumed in the department estimate. It's likely that we may see some fire restrictions, unfortunately, and the assumed nighttime work could help mitigate this, depending on what flat fire plan we end up in. We did have 3 bidders for the project. All of those bidders were over the department estimate. In fact, they ranged from about 38.2 to 58.3%. So after review and analysis of the low bid, the bid was determined to be responsive and bidder responsible with the recommended construction.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on that project from anybody? Okay, how about 9 Delta, please?
Moving on to 9D. This is the system enhancement project on State Route 101 Princess to Shea. It's a diamond grind project. We do have a low bid of $3,972,000 under the department estimate by $3,167,524, and a difference of 44.4%. For this project, we reviewed the bid. Contractor owns the equipment and was able to offer more competitive production rates, but the department was unable, but they did have in their estimate, but were able to receive obviously the end of this bid. We did receive 4 bids for this project. They were all under the department estimate. And they ranged from 28 to 44%. So after review and analysis of that low bid, the bid was determined to be responsible and is recommended to be awarded to QMT Construction LLC.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions on item 9D? Okay, then item 9F, please. Thank you.
You can see item 9F, as in Frank. And this is a City of Dallas project. Human Road Extension Phase 2 from 9th Street to State Route 8. We have a low bid of $4,099,454 over the department estimate by $392,384 for a difference of 10.6%. The difference here was the department did not take into account some of the remoteness of the project and hence some like the travel expenditures for workers, so on and so forth weren't accounted for. Also, the contractor offered some higher material hauling costs. So we were lower on that cost essentially. After review and analysis of the low bid, it was determined that it was responsive and responsible and was recommended to ISX Construction LLC. And just to add on to that, there were 3 bids, and they were all hires.
Perfect. Any questions for anybody on 9F? And I'm going to throw you a curveball because 9H was actually the other one that's overbid. That's the one I was a little more interested in. So glad you're quick on your feet.
Feeling that's these right. Okay, item 9H. This one is a bridge rehab project. It's a local project. Curtin Road at Vienna South Railroad Overpass. The work consists of removing and replacing the existing concrete bridge deck, sitting on top of steel girders over a railroad. We have a second low bidder of $2,171,287. It was over a department estimate of $386,341, or 20.6% difference. The main dollar difference here is higher contractor cost items over the department estimate due to the site conditions of, quite frankly, working over a railroad track. And an appropriation collaboration that needs to take place for that to happen. There were 5 bidders. All of the 5 bidders were over the department estimate. With that said, the apparent bidder was notified of his failure to submit the required bidder documentation. They were provided their right to protest. Within the line, that deadline has passed. And we have received no protest response to date, so they have been deemed unresponsive. Additionally, we have been in contact with Yavapai County. They want to move this forward. They've worked very quickly and diligently to provide us the funding needed for this project to get the board meeting today. And so with that being said, after review and analysis of the second bidder, the bid was determined to be responsive and the bidder responsible with recommended works technology construction.
All right, thank you. Anybody have any questions regarding that item? All right. If I could ask for a motion to approve items 9 Alpha through 9 Hotel as recommended.
Chairman, I move to approve construction items 9A through 9H as recommended by the state engineer.
And I second.
All right, we have a motion from Member Elters and a second from Member Hermosillo. Any further discussion either online or on the dais? Hearing none, I'd ask all members to vote in favor by stating aye.
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 Thank you, Vice Chair Howard. Do anybody voting oppose this, all of these contracts, please state nay. All right, hearing none, the chair votes aye as well. We pass items 9A through 9H unanimously. Thank you, Audra. Okay, at this time, any members have any items they'd like to add to the agenda or anything they'd like to, future agendas or information for the staff or the director? All right, well, we're not quite done because there is more to happen. First off, I want to thank all 3 of the members who joined us online and hope you all feel better or heal. It's good to see us, a group of 8. So I want to welcome Member Coleman to the bunch. I hope you will enjoy your time. So, you know, it's a 6-year term.
I realize that.
Just saying, please. But I also at this time would like to ask Floyd Roark to come up. We've kind of been, you know, joking the last several months, but Floyd is going to be his last official board meeting. I think he's going to be in attendance at. Big shoes. Greg is obviously they've with the restructuring that the director's done. Greg will be responsible for us, which is not always the easiest thing to do. We're known to sometimes be needing a little help and guidance to keep us on track, nevertheless, just on the agenda. But what I want to say about Floyd is he when I first got appointed to this board, he took me in and made sure that I knew what my changing attitude from being on this side of the dais versus that side, because we were vocal transportation advocates from the Pima County area. And I think Floyd has spent numerous years, can't even start talking about how many I would have put and do that to him, just providing support and insight and guidance to the board. It's good. I think the new structuring helps because we can't say, well, Floyd would have done it. It's a different structure, so we can put things there. But I personally want to say thank you to Floyd, and I want to, at this time, open it up to any members on the board who have worked with Floyd, both as in our capacity here, but also in other capacities. Anybody like to had any comments about Floyd Roark and his support of this board.
Chairman,
You got one who's coming, member Elters.
I can't pass the opportunity. I won't do to Floyd what he did to me when I left ADA. Because he was funny and I'm not. I have known and worked with Floyd since 2005. That's 21 years. Floyd and I were at the state engineer's office at the same time. He was my deputy at one time and then succeeded me, and so we've worked on and off all these years. I will say, on behalf of myself, the state, ADOT, the board, I want to thank Floyd for his dedication, his loyalty, his professionalism, his can-do attitude. He has not found a hill that he cannot climb, and a problem that he could not solve. It's truly been a pleasure. I wish you well. I hope to experience that retirement world that you're going on as well. But I wish you the best of luck. It's been a true pleasure working with you, Floyd, and thank you for your service and for all that you've done over the years.
Thank you for hiring me back to be your deputy. That was probably one of the biggest surprises that I had, but thank you, sir.
Mayor Hermes.
Yes, while Floyd and I have had a very short time working together, I will say Floyd has been instrumental in my success on this board. He's kept me in line and organized through various emails, and also while I've been a remote participant, there's a few times I can recall where Floyd was my extension when we had some technical difficulties, and I want to say a sincere thank you, and I wish you the very best in your next chapter.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't know Floyd that well, but he has led me with the State Transportation Board, and I will admit I'm just a wee bit scared of you, Floyd.
Well, you're not alone.
But with that, I want you to know that you taught me how important this job is. And thank you for your leadership and your public service. And many Mai Tais to you. Think of us.
And I apologize for that scowl. That comes from 47 years of being married. My wife doesn't watch these songs.
We're gonna get you in trouble.
Board Member Cole.
I just want to say you're grateful for your service.
Thank you, sir. That's kind. I will tell you, having been basically working with this board when Sam left in 2008, and then I took the state engineer, and then as a deputy director now. So it's been since 2008, I've worked very intimately with the board. This board does more work and is more professional as a quality than we see in a lot of other areas. And I know every year rotates, somebody goes off, somebody comes on, but the dynamic has always been a board that is engaging, challenging to the staff, and has really been advocates for transportation. So I kudos to all of them. That's why it's been a pleasure to work with you, because I'm working with professionals that are dedicated as well.
We greatly appreciate everything you've done for us, but I don't think that all the words are necessarily done. Anybody online want to add something to Floyd?
If I could, Floyd, I just want to let you know, I really wish I could be there. I've got some elongated healing from some surgery I had, so I am so sorry I missed this meeting. But Floyd, it's been such a pleasure to work with you and alongside you. Not only have you been a central point of knowledge and expertise for the board, but you have a very collaborative spirit. And your Institute of Knowledge will be very, very missed. You've been a steady and dependable leader, and not every organization is blessed with that as a whole package. And that's just a great thing. But I really wish you the best, and I hope in this next chapter it will be filled with much rest, some new adventures, a very long honey-do list, and some time with your family and those that you love. But Floyd, I really appreciate everything you've done, not only for the board, but for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mrs. Howard.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, Member Bracker.
So Floyd, I'm sorry I couldn't be there today. You've really meant a lot to me over the last 12 years, being able to talk to you as a constituent, as a county supervisor, and the last 8 months as a board member. What Jenny says about your knowledge is you've been able to answer so many questions so quickly and just be able to help me frame what I'm trying to do. But I wish you all the best in what you're going to do in your next chapter. And at some point, I look forward to you calling me by my first name. So all the best to you, Floyd.
I don't usually, thank you, Mr. Brackett. It usually happens after the board. I try to be fully formal during the board, then after the board, we can have those discussions. But it's important to treat you with the respect you all deserve. I'm surprised you're sitting here so calmly. That sound of freedom has been.
I had to reach over and show Hermosillo the pin. So he said, yeah, no, it's bringing back lots of memories. So I'm not sure, Mayor Giles, I don't know if you're still with us. You want to comment?
I think you did have to lower.
Yeah, I think he had to leave early, and we were hoping to have the meeting done officially, but the chair didn't comply. So I got to take a look eventually at the U of A basketball game and see how we're doing. But if we're losing this one, I'm probably glad I'm not watching it. But Floyd, we got a gift in there for you. If you want to take a look at it, you can.
You're so kind.
But we appreciate everything you've always done for us. We look forward to hopefully keeping in touch.
Oh, yes.
You might come back just because you missed this board and missed the excitement of.
I do.
Of the third. What are you going to do on the third Friday of every month?
I don't know. Well, the honey-do list.
Yeah. So we really appreciate you, and you can report again.
Yeah, I want to do that.
I want to see if some. Trying to figure out what Floyd Rourke means is a very, very difficult decision.
Oh, my Lord. Yeah, no, but I'm sure it's just as well. Did I get the proverbial, there you go. Look at that. Nice little stop, yeah.
Pocket watch.
Yeah, pocket watch. Oh my gosh, engraved. This is fabulous. Thank you all of you. Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you so much. More than I deserve.
The meeting's adjourned.